on the road at Indianapolis here this afternoon. And Brian, a bit of a weird game, a major deficit to start things out when you're trailing by that many points early on in a football game and you're playing on your heels for the rest of the game. It's hard to come back in the NFL.
Yeah, it's here we are, right? So we knew we weren't going to go undefeated or dreamed maybe that we would. And, I don't know if today was a complete disaster. Maybe the last 2 minutes were a disaster. But for the most part, it was like a pretty interesting and good football game. Did you take away that you thought we were like terrible?
I thought early on through the first three quarters, yes, I do think we were terrible. The fourth quarter, not so much. It seems like they got things together, especially on that offensive line that struggled and was brutal early on. Of course, James Daniels goes down with that injury at the guard position early on in the football game. That certainly did not help matters. But, the offensive line was just pushed around throughout the first three quarters. Fields did not have a lot of time to do much. Najee Harris couldn't get things going on the ground. When they finally did establish a running game with Cordell Patterson, he gets hurt and he goes out of the game. It was just a catch-up game all game long. But it gives credit where credit is due. Late in that game, when the Steelers defense needed a stop and needed a 3-and-out, they got it. They got the ball back. They had a chance. With about a minute left, they had a chance. But then a bad snap by Zach Frazier, the center, on Justin Fields. They lose 17 yards, 3rd and long. Najee Harris doesn't get out of bounds. The clock continues to run. It's 4th and 10. Justin Fields throws it away, and the Steelers lose. So the fourth quarter, exciting. We're going to go through Justin Fields' numbers here in a little bit. Very promising, over 300 yards passing today, 2 touchdowns on the ground, 55 yards rushing. But in the end, it was a game in which, going in at least, I thought the Steelers were going to have their way with the Colts, and they certainly didn't. It was the opposite.
I think the deciding factor of the first half, the biggest difference was the George Pickens fumble, right? I mean, he was carrying that like a basketball. It's not a football move to hold a ball like that. He's palming it, trying to see what he can do. He lost it. So hopefully he learned from that moment. But at that point, that would have been at least 3 points. We were on the 5-yard line or closer. So that Pickens fumble, I thought, changed everything. And so overall, I mean, I guess if we're looking for perfection, we didn't get it. We were looking for a win. We almost got it. And so I think there's a lot of parity. I think that the Colts are an okay team, and I think we're an okay team. And we kind of saw 2 okay teams going at it today.
Well, you've been saying it for weeks, my friend, when we've come on the postgame show about how we're just okay. The rest of the Steeler Nation, myself, we're coming on here celebrating that we're going to win the Super Bowl. And you're like, hold fast. Not so fast, my friend. Pump the brakes a little bit. And you're right. You're exactly right. Some of the true colors came out today. But I thought
think we're okay. I still think even after a loss, we're okay. I thought Fields had a decent day for what we expect from Fields, right? I mean, we've never seen him have any kind of defining game when he was with the Bears. He doesn't really have a defining game with us yet. I thought he fought through, and in that fourth quarter we needed it, he got it done. So I thought of all the games we've played so far, the 4 that we've played, as we leave Sunday 3-1, which is still a great place to be at. Right. I thought Fields defined himself as the quarterback today more than he did last week, more with a loss than he did a win.
Fields' final numbers on the day, let's talk about it. 22 of 34, 312 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. On the ground, 10 carries, 55 yards. He ends up being the Steelers' leading rusher on the day, averaging 5.5 yards per tote and 2 touchdowns on the ground. 3 total touchdowns on the day for Justin Fields. And a lot of that came in the second half when they were playing catch-up. But, typical Steeler quarterback play back in the day, they would just simply disappear. Justin Fields kept them in that football game late. And ultimately, on that last drive, they had a chance until that bad, unfortunate fumble by Zach Frazier, the center, to Fields, who was in shotgun. Again, they lose 17 yards. And at that point, man, you had to get pretty nervous.
What happened there? So that hit Fields in the face when you saw the replay. I guess it was just bad timing, but Fields never saw that ball coming. He wasn't ready for it. But, this is a new quarterback, new center, new offense in a dome. And, what do we even call that now? Lucas Oil Stadium. I was going to say the RCA Dome, but Lucas Oil Stadium's a loud place to play. You're indoors. And Fields has a lot to do at the moment. Remember, he didn't win a lot of games with Chicago. He didn't have a lot of 2-minute drives with that team where he had to really button up and see. So these things will work themselves out. Besides Fields just kind of getting bumped with that ball, there is a veteran on the team that didn't understand how to play football today, and that was Najee Harris again going for these extra yards. Najee's going for these, and in my opinion, money yards. He did it last week where they said, oh, he went to the 1 yard line and stopped. He didn't. He was going for a touchdown. And today he tried to get an extra 1 or 2 yards. They stopped his forward motion, and he couldn't get out of bounds. I mean, I'm sorry, man. You went to Alabama, and you've been in this league for how many years? You get out of bounds. You don't understand the game, in my opinion. And so Tomlin has to have that conversation to him. Do you understand the game?
And even as great as George Pickens is, when he fumbled that football, that was a key moment because, again, if they score at that moment and George Pickens is able to, at least get that ball down inside the 5 yard line, they're knocking on the doorsteps. They're trying to, stop the bleeding, if you will, because the Colts were dominating the Steelers up until that drive. But he had the ball out. I know he's fighting for extra yards, but he's palming the football with one hand. Which is, I coach youth football, as you know, and we start on day one to teach everybody 2 hands on the ball, cradle it, never give it up, all the way up through the NFL. Anytime you have the football out like that, I don't care how good you are, you're asking for trouble. You're asking for ultimately a fumble. The opening Colts drive, though, set the tone for the game. They went right down on the field on the number 1 defense in the NFL coming in, the Pittsburgh Steelers. 8 plays, 70 yards with Anthony Richardson at the quarterback position, Jonathan Taylor at the running back position, Michael Pittman at the wide receiver position. All 3 of those players clicked, and ultimately that's what did the Steelers in, I thought, at least, because it set the tone for the rest of the game.
Well, they smashed it down our throat. I don't think we saw it coming, but, man, it happened fast. I couldn't even sit down with my buffalo chicken dip and understand what even happened. It happened so fast. So, yeah, but you know what? Good for them. They had a plan, and they're almost like, and I won't even say the name, the Pirates. We can't expect the Steelers to score a lot of points. Fields now is starting to show that he will throw downfield when he needs to, but he is still a very quick look to pass. Then he's going to start running, and when that line collapses, it happens. So when they went up 14-0, that boy, is that a serious problem for a team that doesn't have a lot of offense, or at the time right now, no offensive identity.
Well, once again, too, the Steelers on their opening offensive drive had a bonehead play happen. Costly personal foul call on Broderick Jones, who has had his troubles in recent weeks, as we know. They were starting to get a little bit of an opening offensive drive going, trying to respond to that opening drive by the Colts. Broderick Jones called with a personal foul at the end of a play. That ultimately killed that drive off.
Yep.
And then, as you said, they turn around, they give up another scoring drive, and they're down 14-0 right out the gate. Then James Daniels goes down. The Steelers get a little bit of a break, you would think, but ultimately it wasn't when Anthony Richardson, the starting quarterback for the Colts, he goes out with a hip injury for the rest of the game. So who comes back in but smiling Joe Flacco, the Steeler killer? And once again today, he was a Steeler killer. It's amazing that Joe Flacco is going to be 50 years old, and he's still going to come into an NFL game and beat the Steelers. Unbelievable.
Here's a question for you, and you follow it closer during the offseason than I do. Flacco was with the Browns last year, and he was like, I don't know, he was like an insurance salesman or something, and they brought him back, and he played. And this, obviously, hindsight being 2020, did we want Flacco? Did we think that he would bring some stability? Because, and while everyone will laugh and be like, he's a joke, but, I mean, Russell Wilson is still in the same boat as Flacco, right? And maybe we got a better deal on Wilson and we thought he was going to play, but I don't know. I guess if you had to have a backup today, would you rather have Wilson or would you rather have Joe Flacco?
I'd rather have Wilson than Joe Flacco, but the only thing is Flacco in the last 2 seasons, last year with the Browns and again today with the Colts, I think I saw a crazy stat that Joe Flacco, the last 7 football games he's played in, including today, he has thrown at least 2 touchdown passes or more. So based on that statistic, you are right. Wouldn't you rather have him as your backup quarterback in this type of system?
Yes. I mean, and not that we ever were considering. In fact, when everything happened with Kenny Pickett and Mason Rudolph and all those jabrones, no one was like, hey, maybe we should get a very sensible 48-year-old Joe Flacco to come in and see how he would do. But I know that's not a sexy move, but he won for the Colts today. What if we had to do backup versus backup? Do you like Russell Wilson coming in as a backup with the Steelers versus a backup Colt, Joe Flacco-led team? Who do you like in that scenario? I feel like I'm Joe Flacco's agent. I'm trying
I
to
was going to
sell
say,
him to
man, you're on the Joe Flacco fan club here. With who, by the way, I always laugh when I hear Flacco because you and I, along with your grandfather and your wife Marcy, we had Pitt season football tickets back in the day, if you remember, early on.
Yes.
And I remember sitting at those games, and there was always calls for put in Flacco, and no one ever knew who Flacco was. That was when Tyler Palko was the starting Pitt quarterback, and Joe Flacco was his backup. And when Palko would struggle, the fans would all start calling for Flacco, who was a no-name back then.
An absolute no-name.
He transfers to Delaware, and the rest is history. Gets drafted by the Ravens, wins a Super Bowl with those guys. Getting to some of your comments here on Oneberg. Glad you could join us on our Oneberg Facebook channel, our Oneberg YouTube page, or maybe you're listening back on our Spotify channel. Our good friend Brian Davis checks in, and this is referring to Najee Harris. Yes, he doesn't understand the game. You might be the first one. I'm guessing that's you, Brian, to ever point that out. But
wait, is he being sarcastic that I'm the first person to ever point that out? Because I really haven't heard that, but I'm not sure. Ed, you coached, like you said, you coached the Mighty Mites of Cannon Mac. Would you say if your kid did that, you would say at a fifth grade level, you'd go, well, they have a long time to learn the game, but they don't understand the dynamic or basic rules or the idea of the game. Harris is trying to get a new contract. Who do you think looked at that today and was like, no, there's a guy who really could fit into our offense. He really understands time management. No one.
No, I agree, man. Najee Harris has to be smarter in that situation. Mike Shuffler checks in. Apparently no one told the defense that there was a game. Yes, Mike, you're right. The defense multiple times today, a big letdown, and we should probably talk about that for a minute, Brian. The lack of pass rush was very disturbing for me. It's something through the first three games TJ Watt and the linebackers got home quite often. Today, that was not the case. TJ Watt didn't get he didn't get home at all, not even a rush on the quarterback. The defensive line, Cam Hayward got in a few times. The defensive line got in a couple times, made some sacks, but when we're talking defensive linemen in this system and not linebackers making big impact plays, that's a problem because you need your linebackers to make those big splash defensive plays. And the Steelers did not do that today. They were not able to make very many plays in the backfield, even against Jonathan Taylor, who ran the football very well today.
Who was hurt?
Taylor, what's that?
Who was hurt, right?
Yeah, Jonathan Taylor got hurt late in that game, but he had 21 carries, 88 yards, and a touchdown. Joe Flacco, 16 of 26, 168 yards and 2 touchdowns today.
Well, look, I don't
pretty
think
incredible.
It was a disaster for him.
Yeah, Beats just struggled throughout.
I mean, again, Flacco came in and did what you wanted him to do, and that's why you want him on that team, right? Because he can come in and the Colts still have a grasp on trying to win that game, which was a good thing. Back to your point about the defense and those linebackers coming in. Yeah, you didn't see a lot from TJ. The one time that mattered when we needed that 3 and out, we got it. Hayward was in there on that last one. The defense finally made a stop when it mattered, but the offense just couldn't put it together. Wow, look at this guy. Look at Justin Ackerman. Is it man bun?
Let's get to some comments here on Oneberg on our Steeler postgame show brought to you by Shenderovich and Fishman. Yes, Justin Ackerman checks in. Broderick Jones was named but didn't commit the penalty. That was corrected on the TV broadcast.
Does Ackerman have a man bun, Ed, or does he have something behind him that's coming up behind his head? See his picture?
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is on there. It could be both. Could be a man bun and something else going on.
Let me put my glasses on like I'm a grandfather.
Yeah, I'll bring it back up for you. There you go.
There you go. What did the Steel City lawyer say? Our buddy John Bajetsky. Well, there was that Super Bowl where Wilson threw it and lost. That's true. He did. Is that when he's talking about? He's talking about Flacco versus Wilson on who you would want to have in there. Flacco did win a Super Bowl. I mean, I'm not saying either of these guys are Hall of Fame. These aren't Mason Rudolph Hall of Famers, but and that's obviously a joke. But Flacco came in and did it. I really feel like I'm really on the Flacco bandwagon. I didn't feel this way watching the game, but I think I'm in love with this guy. Couple
other stats for you. George Pickens today, 7 receptions, 113 yards. no touchdowns. Michael Pittman on the other side for Indianapolis killed the Steelers today. 6 catches for 113 yards as well. Josh Downs, 8 key catches for 82 yards. That was the guy they went to on a lot of those third and long situations when the Steeler defense was trying to get off the field. But yeah, I thought the defense struggled today. As good as they were in those first 3 games, they were bad, especially in those last 3 quarters. The fourth quarter, I thought they tightened things up a little bit, but just no pass rush today, and the defense didn't get home. And again, that's not good when your linebackers aren't getting home.
Can I go back to Flacco for a minute? And you said there about the defense being out of whack. Flacco has played against Tomlin basically his whole career, right? Even when he came back and returned for Cleveland. I think that, it's easy for a guy like Flacco to say, I know how to pick apart a Tomlin defense. They're not very disciplined. The secondary has never been strong in Pittsburgh. Right. He can identify that these are guys that Tomlin likes and guys that the Steelers draft, and he has had his way with it. There's no more Troy Polamalu back there to make up for all the mistakes of an undisciplined Steeler defense. So, Flacco, he knows this game plan. And I now represent Flacco. I just sent him a text, and he said I can be his agent. We're getting him on a Subway commercial like Happy Gilmore. He's I eat that Subway, so he's ready.
Little did we know that 20-some years ago at the former Heinz Field, that was you chanting the Flack. You were leading the Flacco. Put in Flacco. At those.
But he went to Delaware, and he couldn't get behind Tyler Pelko, who I guess if you're also going to compare quarterbacks, I guess you'd still rather have You'd still rather have Flacco. Pelko works at TJ Maxx now after having one game. He beat the Steelers with the Chiefs, and then he went right to become a manager of TJ Maxx.
One good takeaway today. We want to get to some more comments here in a second. I go back to Justin Fields and his play at the quarterback position. Yeah. The Colts missed that field goal to start out or midway,
which was huge. That kept that game together when he missed that field goal.
Because the Steelers, it's 17-3. Fields goes down, leads them right down the field. They punch in a touchdown, make it 17-10 late in the third. But then it's 3rd and 10, and you have to hold the Colts the 3 points. You can't give up a touchdown. This is in the fourth quarter, and they do. It's 3rd and 10. The Steelers give up the touchdown to the Colts to make it 24-10. I actually, at that point, I thought that was ball game. I thought that was it. I thought the Steelers were cooked down by 2 touchdowns midway through the fourth. But Fields, again, they march right back down the field. He gets his 2nd rushing touchdown of the game. They're back in it, 24-17. The defense needs to make another stop on the next drive. They don't. The Colts get a field goal, though. They hold it with 3 there. That's key, 27-17. And then Fields, the Freiermuth, with 3:40 left, makes it 27-24. Herbig comes up with a big sack late in that game, forces a 3-and-out. That's when the defense actually did respond for the first time today. 2:39 left at that point, but that bad snap, as we said on the last drive, ultimately kills them.
Hey, the Pirates just took the lead in the Bronx over the Yankees in the 3rd inning. It's 3-2 Pirates. Justin Triolo, sacrifice, fly, scored Bart, and that's 3-2 Buccos in the Bronx.
Oh my goodness! I tell you what, man, you are still Bucco proud at this point. Now let me ask you, and we'll come right back to the Steelers in a second. This is the Steeler postgame show on Oneberg. But
and plus, I have a gift for you too, Ed. I have a gift that I want to present. I'd like to do it before everyone bails off the show as we talk about the Bucs.
Are the Yankees resting the entire roster this weekend? I mean, the Bucs won the. Am I right? Okay, yeah. So no Judge or anything. I mean,
Skeens pitched against Judge and Soto yesterday, struck them out, which was exciting. So he pitched 2 innings in the Bronx, but it's pretty much over. This is the last day of the season for everybody. It's definitely the Pirates' last game of the day of the season because we're not going to the playoffs. October's been canceled, but yeah, they're resting everybody.
Harley Stoker checks in. The offensive line backups are downright horrible.
I got a gift for you right here, Ed. Why don't you do some comments? I'm going to unpack it for you.
All right, do that, and then I'll come back to you. The Still City Lawyer says the Blue Hens, referring to Delaware and Joe Flacco. Very good. CJ Strires checks in. Little worried about the center. Seems like there's been a couple times this season where the snaps have went off before Fields was ready. Is there any confusion on that count, CJ? I agree. I talked about it earlier. I think it was the first game of the season against the Falcons. They had some bad snaps, and I had some concerns there as well with Zach Frazier. He's only a rookie. He's very good, great blocker. I think those types of miscues are going to happen, especially in his first season at center. The key for the Steelers and Frazier is they don't happen as often or in critical situations like they did today late in the game when they're trying to put together a possibly game-tying drive or game-winning drive. That ultimately cost them with that bad snap. So,
I forgot about CJ. He was on last week. That's a picture from his bridal shower, his wife's bridal shower. He wore a hat.
CJ also checks it again. Injuries on the offensive line, killing this offense. Terrell Austin, defensive coordinator, is terrible and always has been. His in-game decisions are masked by the all-star players on this defense. That's Arlie Stroker who checks in. Arlie. It's interesting with Terrell Austin. He's been to the Steelers.
Look how friendly Arlie looks, though. Before you get into that, what a friendly smile. He looks just like a great neighbor, doesn't he? Great teeth, by the way. Arlie's got great teeth. He goes to the dentist. You can tell.
But just back to the point at hand here on this with Terrell Austin. That's key. I love this is why our postgame show works so well. I'm going into a deep analysis, which is probably boring, and we're getting all the clicks out of here. And you bring me back with something like that. But real quick on Austin, he's been the Steelers defensive coordinator for a handful of years now, but it's Mike Tomlin. Tomlin's a defensive guy, and he's very hands-on with the defense and works one-on-one with Austin. He did prior with the other defensive coordinators too. So, before you point the finger exactly at Terrell Austin, Mike Tomlin also has to take some accountability too with that defense because he plays a big part in that.
Hey, I agree with you. This is a gift for you, Ed. A friend of mine was cleaning out his parents' house. They sadly have gone into a nursing home, and the Danbury Mint created this. Look at this. Ben Roethlisberger Danbury Mint.
Oh, man.
Figurine. Look at the back. Look at the detail on this, everybody. Look at that. It's like he's here. Isn't it great?
That'll look good here. That'll look good in the game room, my man. Send that on over here to Cecil Township. Let's go.
Does it look like Ben's on the show right now?
It does look like he was.
It was obviously disappointing when Justin dropped that ball when it hit it off the head. When it hit off Justin's head, I was nervous. That never really happened to me a lot. So I think we'll get back on track. And everybody check out Footballing with Ben Roethlisberger. That's my podcast.
He was at the game today. I don't know if you
saw that. I saw him and Pat McAfee were getting pictures. And it's good to see Ben. It looks like he lost a little bit of weight.
He does.
He's not. Remember every year at camp where you'd figure out if he was fat Ben or skinny Ben. You'd be like, he didn't work the summer as hard as we thought he was. Today he looks good. He looks like he's in great shape. But all these guys now have lost a lot of weight. Roethlisberger, of course, they didn't want to have him keep the weight on. Marquise Pouncey looked small. Casey Hampton doesn't even look recognizable. It's amazing. But yeah, this is for you, Ed. I'm going to drop this off for you this week.
Let's do it, man.
Boy, bravo to the Danbury Mint. Look at that face. It looks like Roethlisberger.
Total yards today for the Steelers, 404 yards to the Colts, 358. Again, these are pretty good statistics at the end of the day. I mean, the Steelers offense, over 400 total yards. And when you take a look at, rushing 122, 282, over 300 yards passing by Fields today. Penalties, 6 for 53. Time of possession in the Steelers' favor, 31 minutes, 7 seconds to 28 minutes, 53 seconds. There again. See, I clicked off. I didn't see any of this because I clicked off my screen to read the stats. And I click back on, and all I see is Big Ben's butt. There you go.
Butt. That's a perfectly crafted butt. Someone took months of time to make sure that butt was crafted and shaped the correct way. Absolutely incredible.
Did you have his butt on the screen the whole time I'm reading those statistics?
No.
I didn't see. Oh, okay. Because I'm reading the stats, and I click back over, and I see Big Ben's butt on your side. So, but the first 3 games of the season, the Steelers won the time of possession, total yards, first downs. And other than the big penalty game against Atlanta and Denver to start out the year, they got that under control last week. They won those football games. Today, they win all those statistical categories and they lose. So that just goes to show you what type of game that was. They almost pulled it out there towards the end, but ultimately they fall to the Colts today, 27-24. The Colts now 2-2 on the year. The Steelers 3-1.
Can I say something negative?
Please.
You think either team would have beat Kansas City today?
Yes. Well, what's going on in that game right now?
Where's Brendan at? Does he have where's your son at? Does he have
Brendan?
scores?
So Kansas City is down 10-0.
Okay. Do you think either team could have beat Buffalo today?
No.
You go, yeah, this is our year. How about even the Ravens? I know that they're having struggles. We're going to see them tonight, Buffalo versus the Ravens.
That's going to be a good game.
This is two middle of the road teams. I don't know if the Steelers are any good. I don't know if the Colts are any good, but at least we're winning these games. 3-1 is a great place to come home to take on Dallas on Sunday night.
Brendan, who made his post-game debut last week. Great job, by the way. A great clip that I was able to post out there with the two of you interacting, man. I loved it. He said, "Hey, Dad, you want me to do the scoring for you guys again on the show?" I said, "Absolutely." And then a minute later, he goes, "Hey, Dad, I'm going to go play with my friends after the game. No big deal, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, no big deal, buddy." So,
I get it.
So we lost it. Hey, we got a comment here.
Who's that? Sammy Ray Pugnar Piper. Now, what a name. Sammy Ray Pugnar Piper. Wonder if she's related to Rowdy Roddy Piper.
Could be, possibly.
Logjammer in Greensburg, 2 question marks. Listen, I don't know if you're following this on Oneburg, Ed, but this town of Greensburg, I don't even know where it's at, to be truthful. If I got in a car and you said $1 million, drive to Greensburg, I wouldn't even know where. I would have nowhere. I'd nowhere in my mind could I know where to go.
The capital of Westmoreland County, not far from where I grew up.
It's by the Mon Valley.
No, it's past the Mon Valley. It's you know where Greensburg is, right down the road from beautiful Latrobe, Pennsylvania. Latrobe, not Latrobe, Latrobe.
Again, I'd have a hard time figuring out where to go on that. Do you go out the park? Do you go out the turnpike towards?
You go to the turnpike, or just go down 70. Go 70 east, and you'll run right into it. It takes you right into downtown Greensburg.
Well, anyway, the great people of Greensburg earlier this week, if you follow along on Oneburg, we took the iconic Logjammer ride to the stadium. OKC just scored. See, God, thank you, Arlie, with that beautiful smile. What a winner! Wonder if he's married or has a wife or a girlfriend, husband, boyfriend, they, them, he, they, she. I don't know. Great smile, though, on that guy. Arlie, thank you, my friend. So anyway, to Greensburg we go. They start saying, bring the Logjammer to Greensburg. And it's like, I don't want to do that. That's a long drive, burn all the gas. Then there was like a chalkboard outside of a bar, bring it to Greensburg. Then the Palace Theater, the famous, wonderful Palace Theater, they put a sign up by the marquee, bring the Logjammer Oneburg to Greensburg. Then the Westmoreland County Art Museum, they say, bring the Logjammer to Greensburg. And then more restaurants, more bars. They illegally used our trademark multiple times, but we're not mad at them for now. And then, of all things, the police officers, the police unit of Westmoreland County, and their dogs posed with it. So I don't know. They're making a pretty good case. Here's the thing, though. I want the mayor of Greensburg to be in there. And I know this is a big ask, but I want the bishop of Greensburg to be in the Logjammer too. If we can get the bishop to bless the Logjammer after the mayor hands Ed Troop the key to the city, we'll be there, right?
Let me tell you, born and raised in Westmoreland County, I will be there. If you take it to Greensburg, I will be happily able to accept the key to the city on behalf of Oneburg. We will make that happen, my friend. Greensburg is an awesome community. A lot of good places to eat and drink and hang out. And like I said, Latrobe's not too far, and North Huntington right down the road. You got to take that Logjammer to Greensburg, man. You got to make the people of Westmoreland County happy.
Well, they are excited about it. So look, but just between me, you, and everyone watching, we're going to bring it. We're going to bring it because they're so excited about it. I just love that they're excited about it. So we'll bring it. Something I'm not excited to announce. Yankees just tied it up 3-3 in the Bronx now, Yankees versus Bucks. This is like the 1960 World Series, except we suck.
This is great that we're still talking about the Pirates on a Steeler postgame show. Next, I want to ask you about Derek Shelton. Is he going to survive after today's game in the Bronx?
I do like Derek Shelton, not to get too far off the Steeler game because we'll get back to it. But I do like Derek Shelton. I think he's a great dude, but they've given him some pieces to the puzzle to try to win. I think the wheels came off on this. So if he stays, I hope he learns how to right this ship. If he doesn't stay, it's not a big shocker. 4-3 in the Bronx. The Yankees just took the lead. John Carlos Stanton grounded in a double play, and someone scored.
I know you're hanging on to that last Bucco game of the season until next March, but
Who
hey,
looks
man,
forward to winter? That's my thing. That's why you got to love baseball so much. No one looks forward to winter.
it's
Football's
true.
great. It takes your mind off of winter. But
It's true.
baseball is the perfect marriage of weather and sport, and quite honestly, a bag of peanuts.
You know that it was not a good Steeler game or a good Steeler day when we're talking about the weather and the Buccos at the end of the post-game show
In
here.
Greensburg.
That's probably the cue to sign off here shortly. We do welcome your comments here on Oneburg. The Greensburg and Westmoreland County community is fired up that the Logjammer's coming out. Well, now, are you going to make an announcement on the date when the Logjammer will show up in Westmoreland County?
Well, look, I just saw that guy tag that guy Dasher Rocket. They're bringing it. Again, I said I'll bring it, but I want the mayor to give Ed Troop the key to the city. He deserves it. His family, I'm sure, would be emotional. Mr. Westmoreland County, Ed Troop. The bishop, I hope, will bless Ed and his wife, Katie.
Well, the Catholic diocese is located in Greensburg.
I know you don't think when I made these demands, I knew who was out there. There's a bishop, there's a mayor, and I have a log jammer. So you guys decide. I don't have to bring it. We don't need to bring it. It can just stay in an undisclosed location right now.
So here's your list of demands: key to the city.
Yes.
The bishop blesses the Logjammer.
Yes.
And we get free wings from Dino's and Latrobe's.
Tell me about this. What's going on about Dino's?
Dino's or Sharky's? Sharky's is in Latrobe. Dino's is in Greensburg. They both have fabulous wings. Sharky's is in Latrobe. That's the famous Steeler hangout for Steelers.
Oh, Sharky's, yeah. Well, the place that they want the Logjammer to come to is a bar called Mr. Toad's. Have you ever been there?
I haven't heard of it, but I'm sure it's a fabulous place. What a great name.
Yeah, it looks fun. Looks fun.
Hey, looking ahead to next week, the Steelers will host the Dallas Cowboys. That's a big game, man. And I don't know if you've noticed out there on social media, but it seems like everybody in the world is looking for tickets to that game.
I mean, that's a big one. The Cowboys, whether us Steeler fans like to admit it or not, are a franchise that has a lot of loyal followings. They travel just as well as the Steelers do. I know that's a hard nut to swallow for us Steeler Nation lovers out there, or people who are part of it. But, yeah, everyone wants to be at this game. So, Dallas is going to show up. So, I'd encourage everybody not to sell their tickets to Dallas fans. We look stupid. Remember last year against the 49ers? That was like the beginning of the end. We were like, oh, what are we going to do? Like, not only were we humiliated, their whole all their fans took over the stadium.
Dino's and Sharky's has awesome wings, Arlie says. See? So he validates what I said. Two great wing places in the
Whoa, wait, Arlie, Mr. Smile, Mr. Friendly, he lives in Greensburg?
He might. I don't know. He's had some Greensburg, Westmoreland County references here over time. But yeah, Dallas.
I saw that the Steel City lawyer asked you, Ed, is this a trap game for Dallas next week as they come into Pittsburgh? What do you think?
Trap game for Dallas. I mean, up until today and what I saw, I mean, I would think the Steelers, I don't know if they're going to be favorites in that game, but it's going to be, the line's probably going to be a point or two either way. I think the Steelers have an awesome opportunity next week against Dallas at home to send a message to the NFL and their home fans. They're at home against that game. Dallas is one of those 50-50 teams throughout the first 4 weeks of the season. They've been up and down. They've looked good at times. They've also haven't looked so great at times either. The Ravens beating them there, last Sunday, this past Thursday, they go into New York to the Giants. They beat the Giants in a close game, low scoring game, in which the Giants could have easily have won that game. So I think for next week for the Steelers, this game against Dallas, if Fields can continue to build, the defense gets back on track. And by the way, we're saying Fields next week. It was reported on that broadcast today that Russell Wilson might be A-OK to possibly start for next week. So you may see Russell Wilson as your Steelers starter next Sunday night on Sunday Night Football with Mike Tirico and your boy, Chris Collinsworth.
Well, as Joe Paterno said before he burned in hell for eternity, if you have two quarterbacks, you have none. And so I hope Russell Wilson does not come out because I think he lost his position as starting quarterback. If he does, we've created our own QB controversy. But I will say this. The spotlight, everybody loves Sunday night. We've been waiting all day for Sunday night. I've heard that song my whole life. If we lose to Dallas next week, I think we'll be exposed to the national media and national fan base of the NFL that we're really not that good, that we're right in the middle, even though we popped out 3-0 and maybe Fields just needed a new look, a new something. This is really the coming out party for this whole team to show, whether it's, God, if it's Wilson, God help us all, but with Fields or whoever, this is our coming out party in a major way. So better not blow it, because no one really respects the Cowboys right now.
Browns and the Raiders currently tied at 10. Browns playing at Las Vegas in that one, 10-10. Bills and Ravens, as you said, that's the Sunday night game tonight. Yeah. And the Bengals today go on the road to Carolina. They win 34-24 for their first win of the game, first win of the year, excuse me. They are 1-3, are the Bengals. As we said before, the Browns are 1-2. They're still playing right now. And the Ravens are also 1-2. So this division is going to start to jockey in some different positions. The Steelers 3-1, still in a good spot, as you said. But I agree, that game against Dallas next week, if you fought a 3-2 on a national scale, national audience, there could be a lot more questions when we come on this postgame show next Sunday night.
Hey, here's our billboard that just went up. I know it's not we partner with the Gateway Clipper every day after a game, every night after the game. Here's our billboard. Ed, you tell me if we're ready. We'll take it. Still in first place, bring on Dallas. What do you think?
I like it.
Still in first place, bring on Dallas.
We always say you got to pivot to the next week, especially after a loss. Bill Belichick would come on his post-game press conference and say, on to Dallas, on to Dallas.
I don't think we have much more to say about Indianapolis. Here's a couple final thoughts that I have. One, I have no idea what is going on with this Indianapolis Colts mascot. I thought it was My Little Pony when I tuned in. I didn't understand what was going on, but it was the mascot all dolled up in different colors. So I don't understand that. Number two, how long are we away from the most useless spot in the whole NFL, the landing zone? Now, I follow this pretty closely. How long, Ed, before there's a corporate sponsor, and that's when you see it come up, it'll say the Delta Airlines landing zone?
That has to be like on the at bat circle, right? That has to be coming up next.
Goodell's like, give me that money. I made up a new spot on the field that we can have sponsored, the landing zone. Have the Steelers even caught a kickoff in the landing zone yet this year? I don't think so.
I don't think. I haven't seen many returns at all this year coming out.
Just get rid of it.
Yeah, I think just get rid of kickoffs all and just in general in the NFL, and just start the ball at the 25 or 30-yard line. Right now it's the 30. Used to be the 25. Now it's at the 30-yard line. So
here's what I think it should be. You ready for this? Now you're a purist, so I know you hate it already, but this landing zone's got to go. Okay, the Steelers get an option. They can take the ball at the 15-yard line. They can lose 5 seconds off the clock and get it at the 20, or lose 10 seconds off the clock and get it at the 25.
Burn the clock, run it off.
Now you can use that against your opponent who might need to make a comeback. So maybe you would burn it in order to screw them. It would put a little more strategy in. But this landing zone, what an absolutely waste of time. Steeler Jesus just checked in, Ed, our buddy. Steeler Jesus Steinmetz, horrible plays and played the refs. What does that mean? Played the refs.
I think, that they played the refs.
Yeah.
I think by the way, love the profile pic there for Steeler Jesus. Maybe the Bishop of Greensburg, when he comes to bless the here, I got it for you. Here we go. We're going to, where I'm going. Steeler Jesus attends that event in Greensburg while the Bishop blesses the logjammer, and we have Steeler Jesus there with us.
Listen, Steeler Jesus, comment if you're still there. If we go to Greensburg with the logjammer, will he go with us, and will he be in the logjammer when the Bishop blesses the logjammer?
I mean, we have to make this work. We have to get this together.
Any word?
He's there. He's in.
Steeler Jesus will come to Greensburg in the logjammer, but we need the Bishop to be there too. If we're going to bring our most holy person, who is Steeler Jesus Steinmetz, they have to bring their person, which is the Bishop of Greensburg.
I think we can make this happen, man. I think the Catholic Diocese of Greensburg will be excited for the publicity, right? Get them involved there.
Oh, yeah.
The Logjammer, Westmoreland County, Key to the City. I will be there for the Key to the City, and then Steeler Jesus. I mean, this is all coming together nicely for Oneburg.
And I'm going to hear confessions. I'm going to be in a truck. You can confess your sins to me in a truck. Now, look.
Oh, boy.
Am I licensed by the diocese to hear confessions?
No.
I'm not. I am not. Will I tell people the sins that you confess to me? Good chance. But look, it's
on
all
Oneburg.
It's all for the kids. It's all for the kids.
On Oneburg, you will be happy to share those sins, right?
Yes. And what about Steeler Pope? I guess I'm not a religious person, but I would say Steeler Yinzer Pope on the hierarchy of religion. Yinzer Pope. A pope is higher than a bishop. So you'd go Yinzer Pope, then the bishop.
The actual bishop.
Greensburg, yes. Then Steeler Jesus Steinmetz. But remember, the Pope is Jesus on earth in the Catholic faith. So maybe the Jesus Steinmetz goes actually number one. We'll have a whole show on this.
That'll be an interesting thing coming towards the Oneburg Facebook page, Oneburg YouTube, because of course we'll broadcast it live. Absolutely.
Yes.
We'll do one of our live shoots for it.
Yes.
And see what happens. So, all right, well, that's going to do it for our Steeler postgame show for today.
Wait, that's it?
That's it. Unless you want to continue on, we're 41 minutes in, baby.
What's Steeler Jesus say? Did he just click on something? I just saw his. I'm so blind. I apologize for these glasses, guys. What did Steeler Jesus say? Typical Catholic religion, it happens in threes. That's right, the Holy Trinity, the triangle.
There you go.
Jesus, the Bishop of Greensburg, and Yinzer Pope. That's the triangle.
Now, is Dasher Rocket part of this trying to bring it to Greensburg? Because I see him, he keeps commenting on here. Is he the lead on it? He looks like I got the whole city involved, it looks like.
He really did. It's amazing how many people in Greensburg are talking about this logjammer, because this guy, Dasher Rocket, what a name too, by the way. Wonder if that's
great name, phenomenal name,
God-given name. Now look at him. Now he's kind of unsightly, right? Look at this picture, a little unsightly. It was kind of like Justin Fields today when that ball hit him in the face. It was kind of like Dasher didn't know this picture was being taken.
I don't know. Is he messing with you, man? He keeps commenting. Is this on?
He's hilarious. But yeah, he got all these people. Very well liked in Greensburg. He's the mayor. And then Jesus said, get a hold of me. I can make it happen. All right, Jesus, we got you, my man. You know, I proposed, as we're totally off the rails on the Steeler show, I proposed a show that for Steeler Jesus to host. And
get him, the Pope.
I just don't know if they want to do a show. There's Jeff Steinmeier, not to be mistaken with Steeler Jesus Steinmetz. He said, bring that logjammer to Greensburg. Now, what's he doing in that picture? It looks like he works for PennDOT. He's got a neon green shirt, the mustard. He looks like Dale Earnhardt, Jeff Steinmeier. Yeah.
I think we could just sit here and read these comments all afternoon. And we've gone from the Steelers losing to the Colts. We've pivoted over to just talking about the logjammer going to Greensburg.
Yeah, well, you know what? I blame Tomlin for this, just like you do. Everything that goes wrong in my life, I blame Mike Tomlin for. If we would have had a better game, a more prepared offense, more prepared defense, we wouldn't be able to talk to Steeler Jesus or Dasher Rocket or any of these guys, because we'd be talking about all the excitement that happened in Indianapolis. Well, the issue is nothing good happened in Indy today. We lose. And so we have to talk about other things. We actually gave the score of a Pirate game versus the Yankees.
That's what I mean. That goes to show you how bad this game was today, especially the first three quarters. The Steelers can't complete the comeback at the end. They did show us a little bit, though, with Justin Fields and company in that fourth quarter coming on late, but ultimately they can't get it done on that last drive. The bad snap cost the Steelers. Are now 3-1 on the season. They will host the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football next Sunday night. Brian, will we be on the post-game show at midnight next Sunday, or will you go to sleep on me again like you did last season?
That's right. What game was it last year that I fell asleep and I woke I woke up at 3 a.m. I had like 9 texts from you. You're like, you ready to start the show? You there? Hey, bud, I'm on. Come on whenever you want.
I just went on and did the show myself. But if not, we'll do it. In the years past, we've also done a Monday morning quarterback recap too. So we can always do that next week as well.
No, we can't do that. We'll be up. If people, here's the thing. The people want to talk about the game immediately.
I'm in.
Do the next morning. People head to work. So I'll be there, man. I'm going to be up. I'm going to stay up. I'm going to drink coffee. And you'll see my smiling face and Ed Troop's smiling face next week after the Sunday night game.
Let's do it. That's going to do it for the Shenderovich and Fishman Steeler postgame show here on Oneberg. Steelers fall again to the Colts this afternoon, 27-24. We will see you next week after the Cowboys and the Steelers next Sunday night on Sunday Night Football. In a programming note, we'll have the Oneberg Three Rivers podcast for you this week. We're hoping to get Craig Wolfley on with us this week. Last week he couldn't come on. We'll hopefully get him this week.
Wait, the Craig Wolfley is going to be on?
We're going to have Wolf on to talk about this Steeler game and the season so far. And one last programming note, too. Next Friday night, we'll have our Friday Night Lights WPIL preview show live from South Fayette High School. That's
great. I enjoyed the show this week when you were at Bethel Park. That was a down-to-the-wire game, right? My Moon Tigers almost won that, and I heard we lost right at the buzzer.
Yeah, it was a great game. Came down to just 4 seconds left in the game, and Bethel Park scores right at the end on a quarterback keeper play. Tanner Pfeiffer, their talented quarterback, punches it in. Now, there's been some great WPIL high school football games this fall, so we should have another one, Upper St. Clair at South Fayette Friday night. So the long Pittsburgh goodbye is over.
Wait, can I run Roethlisberger
goodbye
time?
Go ahead.
All right, ready? You pretend you're Bill Hillgrove and make a play on Ben getting out of the pocket. Go ahead.
Ben is out. He looks deep, looking downfield, and Ben throws it, and he completes the pass.
Thanks, everybody, and have a great night, and thanks for watching the Oneberg postgame show. For everyone who makes Oneberg, good night.